to 8 p.m., intended for the upcoming May intake. Edinburgh Napier University's programs are 100% online, 100% flexible, and 100% relevant. Online programs include the MBA with over 12 streams and a range of specialist Master of Science and bachelor degree programs. Visit www.seidegrees.com to make a reservation. That's www.seidegrees.com.
Kaieteur Radio.
Covering Guyana from coast to coast.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Berbice 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio. This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio 99.1 FM.
Good evening. Time check for you, 19 hours 2. My name is Amrita Koshal and this is your evening newscast. Opposition Member of Parliament Amanza Walton Desir yesterday kicked off the budget debates for 2022 with a fiery presentation condemning the PPPC administration as nothing but a quote-unquote mafia masquerading as a government. The MP in her presentation observed that Budget 2022 will only widen the gap between the rich and the poor, prefacing her conclusion that the PPPC members are only focused on enriching themselves and friends. To this end, she pointed out that for 2022, the government has allocated out of its $553 billion budget, $218 billion for capital expenditure or new expenses, representing a 109% increase over the previous year. According to Walton Desir, this must be looked at in the context of the fact that the IMF has identified an inefficiency gap by the government in the execution of its public programs of some 41%. According to Walton Desir, the government instead should reallocate the $89 billion to build capacity to better execute its work program and also plug it into measures that will bring relief to citizens. Moving on, revealed during the 2021 fourth quarter earnings call of Hess Corporation last Wednesday, ExxonMobil's subsidiary EEPGL will be drilling deeper into several areas in the Stabroek block to hopefully tap more of the multi-billion barrel potential of the block. Hess was asked to provide shareholders with a few details on the oil-to-gas ratio as well as the oil quality of its Fangtooth discovery made earlier last month. Gregory Hill, Chief Executive Officer of Hess Corporation, also reminded shareholders that Exxon and its partners had other penetrations prior to Fangtooth into those deeper zones that confirmed their perspectives about the multi-billion barrel potential of the much deeper plays. Asked to speak about the well targets for 2022, Hill was keen to outline that the objectives of this year's program is to get more penetrations in the deeper parts of the block. The Stabroek block is 6.6 million acres, and ExxonMobil affiliate EEPGL is the operator and holds 45% interest. Hess Guyana Exploration Limited holds 30% interest, and CNOOC Petroleum Guyana Limited holds 25% interest. And on that note, we now tell you that Canadian oil explorers CGX Energy Inc. and Frontiera Energy Corporation disclosed on Monday that a discovery was made at the Kaieteur well in the Quarantine block. The joint venture partners noted that the well encountered approximately 177 feet of hydrocarbon-bearing reservoirs based on initial evaluation of logging while drilling data. The end of the well forecast is currently projected to be the end of February 2022. Professor Suresh Narain, Executive Co-Chairman of CGX's Board of Directors, along with Orlando Cabrales, Chief Executive Officer of Frontiera, commented that the results from the Kaieteur well represent a positive milestone in both of their journeys as oil and gas explorer pioneers in the Guyana Basin. In other stories, opposition member of parliament Germaine Figueira, who is also chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, came to the conclusion today that when Dr. Ashni Singh presented the 2022 national budget last Wednesday, it was laced with quote-unquote voodoo economics. Figueira drew reference specifically to the 11.5% increase in food prices that was reported by Dr. Singh, and according to him, almost all items of a food basket saw an increase of about 25%. As such, he posited Dr. Singh's figures as present, quote-unquote, must be some type of voodoo economics. Figueira also noted that Budget 2022, much like its predecessor, was aimed at supporting the business class only and not the working and poorer class of citizens. He observed that Budget 2022 is being funded in part by oil inflows, but this is being done while the Oversight Board is yet to be put in place. On that note, we now tell you that as he made his contribution to the budget debates, AFC leader Kemraj Ramjatan said that Budget 2022 is reflective of a country that is already heading down the path of the resource curse or the Dutch disease, as is evidenced by the figures presented confirming a heavy reliance on oil funds, while at the same time the non-oil economy shrinks. He also sought to caution against the destruction of Guyana's non-oil economy, since the hydrocarbons being discovered was a finite resource that would be exhausted in a matter of decades. Accusing the PPPC administration of wanting to run roughshod over the opposition, Ramjatan spoke to the importance of working together, especially in light of the country's new economic status. The AFC leader was adamant oil is exhaustible and in a few decades' time will come to an end. To this end, he used his presentation to caution against the Dutch disease, telling the House to learn from the happenings in neighboring Venezuela. Time check for you, 19 hours 9. We will return with more news for you shortly after the break.
Nothing in life is free, but the My Digicel app is. You don't need to be on a data plan to use the app. You can conveniently chat with Ruby or an agent for help. Check your account balance, activate a Prime bundle, or gift it to a friend. Send credit. Check the Georgetown and Burpees Bridge schedules. Activate a roaming plan. Play Shake to Win for cool prizes. So don't worry about a data plan, buddy. Download the My Digicel app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store today. Digicel, better together.
And now back with more news in detail. According to Coalition Member of Parliament Dawn Hastings-Williams, if the needs of the people are not taken into account and set as priorities over the course of this year's scrutiny of the 2022 estimates, then the process would have been a waste of time and will not find the support of the political opposition. She was at the time adding her voice to this year's budget debates and lamented that the $553 billion budget is not people-oriented and not people-centered. With regards to the relief measures that had been announced for the business community, such as the removal of certain import and other taxes for certain classes of vehicles, this, she said, should also be extended to categories of workers, such as teachers in the hinterland. And finally, we now tell you that Guyana's Court of Appeal yesterday upheld the conviction for the trio who brutally murdered 72-year-old Clementine Fitku Paris at her Robb Street home back in 2011, but reduced their initial 81-year sentence to 50 years. Back in 2015, Justice Navindra Singh sentenced Orwin Hines, Kevin October, Cleon Hines, and Roy Jacobs, each to serve 81 years in prison for the vicious attack on the elderly woman. The lawyers for the four accused had appealed the matter following the ruling, but October died last year in prison while awaiting his appeal. In handing down her ruling, the Chancellor stated that the sentence was excessive, but noted, however, that the trio was hired to carry out a gruesome act that resulted in the elderly woman being killed. Time check for you, 19 hours 11. My name is Amrita Koshal, and this was your evening newscast right here on Kaieteur Radio.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.